Hi, it's Penny, the drum teacher. I want to talk to you today about one of the most difficult things you're going to have to learn in studying drumming, and that's the bounce technique that we use for the double stroke roll. It's rudiment number 6. I do a quick demonstration of it in another video, but today I wanted to talk more specifically about the actual technique. And there are a few different ways to describe it, but the thing that's really the most important for you to realize is it's 2 notes on each hand, but it's not 2 complete motions. It's not, right? You'd never have time to do that. Right? You can see how much energy I'm using just to get that accomplished. Likewise, I found that, as I often say, I grew up in drum corps, and I can play the double stroke roll pretty quickly, holding on really tight with both hands. Right? It sounds a little rigid. It's really demanding to play like that. My left wrist especially gets grumpy nowadays when I try and do that. But I also have a speed threshold, right? That's about as fast as I can play that. And you can hear that it's not relaxed. So there might be some situations where I want like a very aggressive, very rigid sounding double stroke roll where I might still do all wrists, right? Right, if I need something that's that aggressive. But for the most part, I'm doing a technique that I've heard described as push-pull, open-close. I've seen it related to the molar motion, although I think it's a hybrid motion of I've also heard it described as squeeze-release. The way I like to think of it is that I'm throwing the stick and throwing my fingers open, and then I'm pulling the stick back up. Again, there are a lot of different ways to describe this. The way I first started working on this was very literally by, okay, that extreme. I would go this slowly, okay, push my fingers all the way off the stick, which is clearly not what I'm doing when I'm actually playing the roll, right? But as with most things, when you want to work on a new technique, sometimes the more you can exaggerate that motion, the more your body can process exactly what you want it to do, right? You're sort of training your fingers what you need them to do. And what I need my fingers to do on that first note is push off the stick, okay? Further, if you notice, now the stick has bounced back up. Now I have my fingers off the stick. All I need to do to get that second note is squeeze my fingers. There's a danger with this technique that you can very easily end up with a roll that sounds like, okay? We don't want that. We want a nice, clean, right, machine gun kind of roll. The exercise that I've found that works the best to control that cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha kind of sound is to simply do a double stroke roll accenting the second note, okay? So the first note we're going to do very quietly, and the second note we're going to do pretty loudly, right? So like so. Okay, and I can hear you say, but Penny, you're not taking your fingers off the stick on that first note. You're right, I'm not. And that's because that exercise isn't working the first note, it's working the second. It's giving me the ability to snap and squeeze to get that second note. And that's how can get a nice smooth and steady roll, is working on sort of every part of the motion. It's important to realize that there's no one right way to attack the double stroke roll. It's probably one of the most frustrating things you'll ever have to learn. I learned it at a time. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I had a teacher for a few months in drum corps, and then the drum corps I was in folded, right? It closed down, went out of business. And so I was left to my own devices. And I played that all wrists double stroke roll for about a year on my own. I practiced it every day before I had, 8-year-old dawn breaking over marble head realization that if I let the sticks bounce, they would do a lot of the work for me, okay? When you have this all together, you can really start thinking about doubles as one thing. That's one little pathway in my brain. I'm not thinking da-da, I'm thinking double, double. It's almost like a word, right? Of course, you'll get to a speed threshold where you'll have to rely just on the bounce of the head and your control of the sticks. This varies, I think, for everyone. It certainly varies for me depending on how much I'm playing, how much I'm warming up, and how much I'm playing the double stroke roll specifically. Okay, let's see where I get there. You'll be able to tell. I'm going to start slowly and speed up. I'm going to go as fast as I can. When I get to the top of my speed range, it's going to be I'm going to be squeezing tight, and it's going to be just my control of the bounce and the sticks. You could hear it got a little mushy up at the top because I have the snare drum tuned a little loose. And frankly, I don't play rolls as fast as I can very often anymore. That's not really the way I sort of see my role as a drummer. But you'll hit that wall and then you can still go up faster just by pressing on the head and holding on tight. So remember, the most important part of this is approach the double stroke roll from many different angles. Okay, hold on, play it just with your wrist, play it lots of fingers, let the sticks bounce. Right, essentially this is all learning to control this. Right, I'm not moving this hand at all, that's totally just the stick bouncing. The double stroke roll is probably the most precise control of stick bounce that you will need. Okay? Yeah, so that's the double stroke roll. And it's really useful when you can control it and play. If you play a double stroke roll on your floor tom, it will blow people away because most people are not used to drummers being able to do that. Play it on your leg. Play it on a pillow. Play it on really firm drum pads, play it on soft drum pads, work on it on every surface you can, different volumes, every different way, and you'll get there. You'll have a nice, rock-solid machine gun double stroke roll. All right, good luck. Keep at it. We'll see you next time.